Peace, Patreon family, Healing Arts community. Hope everyone is well. So I'm here today to do a quick review of some of the videos that I've posted already on mindful meditation, on Mahamudras, on bandhas, on prana and thoughts, just some of the things that I've already covered. I want to double back and just kind of sum them all up together. Okay, so I just want to get into the a meditation tool that I went over. It was introspective meditation, or I think the topic was mindfulness in meditation or mindful meditation. It's also called introspective meditation. So just from my notes, a great meditation tool is introspective meditation, where the practitioner brightens the quality of their mind using the inhalation. So you remember before, on the inhale, you will inhale vividness, you will inhale clarity, and then on the exhale, you release any dullness. So, and then you would check in with your mind. How is your mind? Is it vivid? Is it clear? Is it dull? Is it awake? Or is it agitated? So these are the three states of mind that you find yourself in before you meditate. Either you're vivid and you're really clear, you're present. That's one quality of the mind. The other could be dullness, lethargic feelings. Another one could be agitation, frustration, inability to be still. So you may find yourself wanting to move, wanting to get up, wanting to do something. These are some of the qualities of the mind. And the introspective meditation is used to help evaluate this quality of the mind before you go into your meditation practice. And then you engage with the practice itself. So, oscillation technique. And you can always take notes on this as well. The oscillation technique was also described in the mindfulness meditation, or in Trataka as well, where you basically use an object to keep the meditator engaged. So oscillation technique is used to keep the meditator engaged with an object during the practice. On the inhale, you increase the vividness of your focus. On the exhale, you soften it. The reason why we use the vividness and softness is because the two primary obstacles to concentration are dullness and agitation. The antidote to that is fullness, brightness. The antidote to agitation is softening. Let me say it again. The antidote to dullness is brightness, fullness. The antidote to agitation is softening. Okay. So these are some of the things that may come up for you in your meditation practice, and the oscillation technique is used to help you move through that. So you start with an object. Remember, you can use an actual candle flame as in Trataka, or you can close the eyes and use an internal object like a blue dot, maybe the Om symbol, maybe the Namaste symbol, maybe a rose, maybe a two-petaled rose, like the first chakra. Okay, these are different things you can use to meditate on, and you'll use your inhalation to hold the image and bring vividness and clarity, and the exhalation to soften your focus. And that's some of the things you will use in your meditative practice. So before you jump into Nadi Shodhana, Kapalabhati, Samvriti, some of the practices, the breathing techniques we've already covered, before you even get into that in your practice, as soon as you sit down, you're going to check in with the quality of your mind first. Is it vivid? Is it clear? Is it agitated? Is it dull? Is it lethargic? And then you can also check in with the right and left nostril. Is the left nostril open? Or is the more feminine creative aspect open? Is the more masculine aspect open? Are both nostrils in unison already? These are ways you can engage with the mind and have some understanding as to where you are before you go into your meditative practice. And then you use your oscillation technique to then brighten the focus, make it more consistent, and to enhance the concentration. And then you can go into the 4 measurables. And then from there, you can go into either a pranayama technique, an actual breathing technique. Okay, so I'm just recapping the order operations for engaging in a meditative practice. Check-in, introspective meditation. How's your thoughts? The quality of your thoughts, the quality of your mind. Oscillation technique, something used to help focus the mind, bring clarity, bring vividness, and bring you to the present moment. Third thing is you go into your actual breathing exercise from there. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I wanted to say that the next thing I want to go into is some of the hindrances to a daily practice. So you spend all your time meditating, or you're checking in daily to do your yoga, do your meditation, you're trying to eat good and so on and so forth. And how do you maintain this energy? How do you maintain this clarity? How do you maintain this liveliness, this vividness, this sense of vitality? How does this stay with you throughout your day and not dissipate away? And according to the yogis, according to the masters from the Hatha Yoga Pratipika lineage, there are 6 hindrances to a practice. And I'm going to go over them with you now, what these 6 hindrances are. Okay, so you can take notes on this as well. So, hindrances to daily practice. Number 1, poor food. That's like a no-brainer, no-brainer. Personally, when I first wake up, I don't put anything in my system besides water. I probably don't put water in that's the first thing I have. I probably don't put food in my system for like about 2 hours after I wake up, usually. And I practice on an empty stomach. I do yoga on an empty stomach. I meditate on an empty stomach. I do pranayama on an empty stomach. This is the morning time. And the evening time is different. You're gonna have some food in your system, but you want to be as empty as possible. They say you want a quarter food, a quarter water, a quarter air, and a quarter just space, emptiness in the stomach. Okay. Number 2 is meaningless talk. This happens. For those who practice yoga consistently, after a practice, you're like chatty Cathy. You just want to talk to everybody. You want to like engage, you're feeling good. You want to get in conversations. Try to refrain from that. Try and pull yourself back and reserve this energy by remaining quiet and observant. And you can still engage, but be mindful of over talking and try and preserve this special reservoir of energy you've built up through silence and observation. So that's a big one. The meaningless talk is a big one. I suffer from myself sometimes. You get inspired about something, you have some insights, and you want to just share it. And that could sometimes be a hindrance to the potency of that insight, of that vision, of that creativity, of that energy. Okay. Number 3 is being around groups of people. So this is tricky for a lot of folks, but I know what they're talking about. And it's not just any group of people. It's specifically groups of people who are consciously engaging in ignorance. If you're doing sadhana, you're doing pranayama, you're doing meditation, you're doing your 4 measurables, you're studying your philosophy, you're eating good. You don't want to be around people who are gonna, who are doing the opposite of that. People who are gonna pull you away from that or make you feel strange for engaging in those things. You ever found yourself trying to explain who you are to someone who isn't quite ready to understand it yet? You're around a group of friends who aren't quite where you are in life and can't quite relate to where you are, and you find yourself finding a lack of connection, a lack of understanding with them, And because you care about them, you love them, you begin to over-explain yourself. And but it still doesn't quite land. So it's important to have discernment in your company, and to also be mindful of being around groups of people, large groups of people who aren't a part of your community, your inner spiritual community. And this is specifically after you practice. After you practice, relish in that space of aloneness before you step out into the world and begin to engage with family, partners, co-workers, etc. Take that time for yourself to marinate in your own energy and your aloneness, and then engage with other people. There's a difference between aloneness and loneliness. Aloneness is very different, and it has a beautiful quality of understanding, I feel. There's insights, there's reflections that can happen in aloneness. So relish in that space. Okay. So number 4 is restlessness and inconsistency to practice. There's a guy like called Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a neurologist, and he's a holistic neurologist, and he tells us all about how the brain hardwires itself, how things you engage in your life can literally rewire your neurological pathways and create new habitual patterns. So this can go both ways. If you begin to practice, all it takes is 3 weeks. Do something every day for 3 weeks, and it will become a new learned habit. This is new science. So just 3 weeks of doing something every day, and it will become a new learned habit. So if you don't do something for 3 weeks, or you're spotty, you're inconsistent, it won't resonate as deeply with you. So it's important to maintain consistency. It's better to do less than to not do anything at all. If you don't have time for 30 minutes, you don't have the stamina for 30 minutes of meditation or asana practice, break it in half, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It's better than not doing anything at all. Just a little bit every day for 3 weeks straight. It can become a new learned habit. Okay, the last one is not keeping your commitments. This is a big one. Not keeping your commitments is very important. It's very important. So not keeping your commitments, especially with partners. This kind of hits home for me, but I'm pretty sure for some of you guys, especially with partners, trying to maintain your commitments with people, things you said you were going to do and that you don't follow through with, can hinder your spiritual growth and your daily practice. This weighs on your conscious. It sits on your subconscious. When you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it, whatever excuse you made, the residue from not being able to show up sits as guilt inside of you, and that weighs on your subconscious, and that will carry with you in your meditation. So that's one way how I can see it affecting us directly, and I'm sure there's other insights you may have yourself. But so those are some of the hindrances to creating and cultivating a daily practice. We covered that, and before that we covered the way to approach a meditative practice, beginning with introspective meditation into the oscillation technique, maybe checking your right and left nostril, and then going into your pranayama, or maybe including the 4 measurables, and then going into pranayama. Okay, so I just wanted to sum this up for you guys. You've been talking about different things, and I thought it was important to give you some philosophy to help you maintain and encourage you to keep this practice going. And if you're struggling with meditation still, to check your list, to make sure you've been doing some of these things that can serve you to set you up to have a productive meditation session. So yes, Thank you guys again for your support. Please share this with other friends who you feel will resonate with this information. And if there's anything you would like to be covered, anything you would like to be explained again, reach out to me, comment, post, share, and I'll get back to you. Peace.